What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of El Autobús de Lucha, aka the Struggle Bus, where sometimes learning something new is a struggle, but here it does not have to be. My name is Leo, and this is a show where we break down paragraphs from Spanish to English, and we listen to audio clips from Spanish to English. We translate them, we break that down, and we get a good translation of what's going on, and we learn to enhance our Spanish speaking abilities. Today, we are covering irregular verb conjugation. Now, why are we covering irregular verb conjugations? Because in the last episode, we covered regular verb conjugation. If you remember, they followed a structure. But why do we have to learn irregular verbs? Well, because irregular verbs don't actually follow the same structure that the regular verbs followed. So now we got to learn this one to understand and be able to break down other paragraphs and audio clips in order to really understand what's going on there. So like I said, today we're going to be working on irregular verb conjugation in Spanish. So we're going to be able to conjugate irregular verbs that do not follow the traditional regular verb conjugation. And to do that, we have to understand what are irregular verbs. Irregular verbs are, again, they're verbs that do not follow the normal conjugation patterns that we talked about in the regular verbs, right? Regular verbs behave predictably. You can remove the ending AR, ER, IR, and then you add the correct set of endings. Example is hablar. You conjugate that hablo, hablas, habla, so on and so forth, and you can follow that predictable pattern. But if you don't know what a verb is, it's what you do. I just remember that from the PBS commercial. I just remember PBS commercial being like,
verb, it's what you do.
And that's how I learned what verbs are. You know, PBS actually does teach us. So again, you can't look at the infinitive of a verb or of a word and then know how they conjugate with irregular verbs. Examples that we are going to be talking about today are ser is soy, ir, voy, estar, estoy, tener, tengo. Ser is to be, ir is to go, estar is to be again, tener is to have. But none of these follow the normal endings. But why don't they follow the normal endings? Wouldn't it just be easier? Of course it would be easier. But it doesn't. They just don't, because these verbs are really old and they're super common. So over centuries, they kind of changed for the pronunciation and the speed of the language. But why do these matter, right? Why do we have to memorize the words or the verbs that don't really follow this conjugation pattern? Wouldn't it be just easier if we got rid of them? Yeah, probably, but we just can't because they're the most common verbs in Spanish. You're going to hear ser, estar, ir, tener in any conversation or and news clip out there. You're always going to hear those type of verbs in Spanish, and especially if you are studying for a Spanish speaking or understanding military test, if you know what I'm saying, the DLPT, pretty much. But these verbs express identity, location, feelings, possession, movement, plans, age, and obligations. And then we're going to go into the verbs that we're going to cover. Ser is to be, tener is to have, ir is to go, and estar is to have. Now, I know you're like, this is going way too fast. I get it. We're going to break these down in conjugation, and then we're also going to use them in an example. So when do we use each verb? Ser, what something is, to be, right? What something is, I am hot. That is to be, right? I am hot. You wouldn't say, I have heat. I have hot. You wouldn't say, yo soy calor, right? You wouldn't say that. You would instead, the verb ser is a form of to be that refers to a non-changing state of something, like who or what you are. Quick example of this is yo soy alto. I am tall. Ella es maestra. That probably could change. She is a teacher. That probably could change, but it's not very likely, right? It's something that you are that's not constantly changing, right? Nosotros somos de Nueva York. We are from New York. Those are things that are never really gonna change. So that's how you use ser. Soy de Nueva York. Somos de Nueva York. You know, they're just, again, it's just never gonna change, or it's in a semi-neutral, or it's in a semi-permanent state of being, right? Now we're gonna go ahead and conjugate ser, the verb ser, which is to be. Subject is the infinitive, or the subject is who you are talking about. And then we're going to talk about the present tense. So yo soy, we're conjugating it, soy. Tú eres. Now you see how it's kind of changing here? Él, ella, usted es. Nosotros somos. Usted and ellos son. So you see how it changed from soy, eres, es, somos, and so on. So again, this does not follow the regular pattern. That's why it's so important to learn. Now, if we learn it in the imperfect sense, imperfect is more casual speaking, more casual way of speaking it, right? And usually is dealing with past tense, almost in a sense. Yo era, I was. Tú eras. Él, ella, usted era. Nosotros éramos. And ellos or ustedes eran. Now we're going to go ahead and conjugate to the future tense. Did not put that up there. Seré, serás, será, seremos, and serán. So why are these changing? Again, these are always changing because they do not follow that regular conjugation pattern. These are all over the place if you can kind of see it. But if you look at the present tense and the future tense, there's a little similarities there, except for the imperfect tense there. Now we're going to go into examples of the present tense. Yo soy alto. We already talked about that one. Tú eres doctora. And I was talking about you. Are you a doctor? Tú eres doctora. You're a doctor. Él es menso. He is dumb. He is dumb. Él es menso. Nosotros somos amigos. And here is the highlighted verb conjugated as we did before. Somos amigos. We are friends. Ustedes son ingenieros. That's a new word there. It's a new word there. But through context clues with just ustedes son ingenieros, you can probably understand that they are engineers. Ustedes son ingenieros. Now we're going to the imperfect tense. Yo era atleta. I was an athlete. Yo era atleta. For all those people who were athletes in high school and then they just messed up their knee in high school or college, playing college ball or something like that, and then I would have gone pro. I would have gone pro if I didn't mess up my knee. Yo era atleta. I was an athlete. Tú eras muy curioso. You were very curious. You know how your parents, you talk to your parents or you talk to your aunts and uncles about, back the good old days and stuff like that. And they tell you, yeah, tú eras muy curioso. You were very curious. You were just always just moving around everywhere. And kids are naturally curious, right? Tú eras muy curioso is you were very curious. Él era mi mejor amigo. He was my best friend. Él era mi mejor amigo. Nosotros éramos vecinos. We were neighbors. Nosotros éramos vecinos. And ellos eran músicos. Ellos eran músicos. They were musicians, so they are no longer. And we're going to the future tense. Yo seré un doctor. Tú serás un buen padre. Ella será la jefa. Seremos padres. Ellos serán famosos. So, good, getting a good breakdown of these future tenses. Yo seré un doctor. I will be a doctor. You usually ask, kids what they want to be when they grow up. What do you want to be when you grow up? ¿Qué quieres ser cuando seas grande? ¿Qué quieres ser cuando seas grande? Yo seré un doctor. Usually kids are like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a firefighter, whatever it is, right? But that's going to be in the future tense. Tú serás un buen padre. You will be a good father. Just tell people who are having kids, if you got friends over there that are having kids here soon, just tell them that tú serás un buen padre. But padre is for a father, right? If you're speaking to one person in particular, And if you say, tú serás un buen padre, that's going to be, you are going to be a great father. If you want to say to a mother, you're going to be a great mother, tú serás una buena madre. Una buena madre. Now, why do these change from un to una and bien to buena? It's because Spanish follows the rule of genders. And I know there's going to be a whole bunch of Latinx stuff like that going on. We're not doing that. We're just talking about normal Spanish and how you're going to see it in clips and how DLPT and OPI loves to look at it and loves to throw at you, right? Ella será la jefa. She will be the boss. If somebody's getting promoted in your work, ella será la jefa. You're telling them that she will be the new boss. Seremos padres. Now, with this one, very important distinction, seremos padres. Does that mean we're both going to be fathers? No, seremos is we are going to be. Again, we're conjugating that verb. I can't remember which one it was, and I don't want to look back. But seremos padres. Does that mean we're both going to be fathers? No. When it comes to a couple, when you're talking to a couple and or a new couple, you say that they will be parents, right? Serán padres. Seremos padres. Padres is parents, right? Ellos serán famosos. They will be famous. Ellos serán famosos. Now, again, we're gonna go into the verb tener, which is to have. How and when to use this verb. The verb tener mainly means to have, but depending on what word it's paired with, it can also mean to be. How do we know? When tener is paired with the word tener que, if you have the word que, means you have to do something. It's very fun. But we're going to get into the examples later, right? We're going to get into this example right here. Tener calor means to be hot. Tener que means I have to do X, Y, and Z. Tengo que ir al mercado. I have to go to the store, market, supermarket, however you want to. But remember, if you see the word tener, it definitely means to have, I have. But if you have the word que, Q-U-E, in front of that word, that means you have to do something. So now we're going to go ahead and conjugate the infinitive verb of tener, which is to have. We're going to conjugate it by itself. In the present tense is yo tengo, I have. Yo tengo, tú tienes. Él, ella, usted, him, her, or them, they have, ellos tienen. Él tiene, I'm sorry. Él tiene, usted tiene. Nosotros tenemos. Can you guess what the last one is? Ustedes, ellos, which is them. It is tienen. All right, let's go into the imperfect tense. Yo tenía. Remember, past tense, I used to have. Yo tenía. Tú tenías. You had. Él, ella, usted, him, her, or you tenía. Nosotros teníamos. Ustedes, ellos tenían. Now notice how in the present tense, you know what? Let's move forward a little bit. In the future tense, yo tendré. I will have. Tú tendrás. Él, ella, usted tendrá. Nosotros tendremos. Y usted, ellos tendrán. So these are the three different types. So these are the three tenses: present tense, perfect tense, future tense. Now, notice one thing very important here, that on the imperfect and future tense, we have accents on the I's. And over here, we have them on the A's and the E's. How do you pronounce that? And how is it different from the present tense? Well, it's different phonetically. It's an accent, so you put a little bit more emphasis where that accent is. Instead of, I know a lot of you are gonna. I know a lot of people I've heard say the word tenía as tenía. Got it? Okay, but remember, in Spanish, the T is a little bit more softer. It's more of the tongue hitting the roof of the teeth. Tenía. Whenever you see an accent, you want to accentuate it up and then come back down. Yo tenía. Tú tenías. Él tenía. Nosotros teníamos. Now, I know this one's going to get you. You're going to think, teníamos. No, close enough. Teníamos. Teníamos. Ustedes tenían. 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 Yo, and then now this one. On the future tense, it is on the E. How do you pronounce that? Yo tendré. Yo tendré. Tú tendrás. Tendrás. Él tendrá. Nosotros tendremos. There's no accent there. And ustedes tendrán, or ellos tendrán. Now let's get into the accents. Let's get into the examples of the present tense. Yo tengo frío. Right now, it's very cold in North Carolina. I don't know if it's going to be cold by the time I put this out. It's very cold. I would say tengo frío. I am cold. But I am fucking cold, so I would say tengo un chingo de frío. Tienes el tiempo. Do you have the time? Tienes el tiempo. Do you have the time? Él tiene un libro. Él tiene un libro. He has a book. You can just point at your buddies and say, él tiene un Red Bull. Ella tiene una hamburguesa. You know, she has a hamburger. He has a Red Bull. He's currently in possession of a hamburger or Red Bull. Tenemos una casa. We have a house. Somebody asks if you have an apartment or a loft or if you're renting or if you live under a bridge. No. Tenemos una casa. We have a house. But if you say, I have a house, and you're just like, no, I have a house. It's you by yourself. Tengo una casa. But in this case, it's we have a house. It is tenemos una casa. And then tienen ellos, the verb for the conjugation for ellos, tienen ropa sucia. That means they have dirty clothes. Tienen, to have, la ropa sucia. Tienen, they have. Their clothes are dirty. They have dirty clothes. Ropa is clothes. Sucia means dirty. And you can put it however way you want. You can put it in an insult. You can put it in a tagline. Doesn't matter. Sucia means dirty. In the imperfect tense, again, remember, we're talking about past tense. Yo tenía zapatos. I had shoes. If you're ever at a drunk night out and you go to the club and they're like, we can't let you in without shoes. And you're like, well, I had shoes. Yo tenía zapatos. Yo tenía zapatos. I had shoes. But you don't know what happened to them because it always happens to us. Yeah, it happens to the best of us. Don't fucking judge me. Tú tenías las llaves. This inevitably happens all the time. Whoa, I almost hit my mic. Sorry. Tú tenías las llaves. Tú tenías las llaves. Who could think of what this might be? You got it. You had the keys. If you're leaving with your spouse somewhere, somebody's always missing the keys. I didn't have the keys. You had the keys. I didn't have the keys. You had the keys. Where the fuck are the keys? Tú tenías las llaves. Tú tenías las llaves. You had the keys. And it definitely happens with your DD all the time, right? Él tenía mi carro. He had my car. So he must have had my fucking keys. Él tenía mi carro. He had my car. Nosotros teníamos cerveza. Oh, man, that's such a bummer. Nosotros teníamos cerveza. Nosotros teníamos, had, past tense, cerveza, beer. We had beer. We ran out. Gosh darn it, that always happens. Ellos tenían tarea. They had homework. Ellos, which is they, them, had, tenían tarea, which is homework. Tarea. If you're saying, I have homework, yo tengo tarea. In the future, yo tendré una fiesta. If you're having a party, you will have a party. You're going to have a party. Yo tendré una fiesta. I will have a party. Tú serás un buen padre. You will be a great father. Tú serás un buen padre. That's a little bit like maybe level 2, probably like 1+. Tú serás un buen padre. Again, same example. Ella será la jefa. She will be the boss. Seremos padres. We will be parents. Ellos serán huérfanos. I don't know why I put that part in there, but They will be. Ellos is they. Serán will be. Huérfanos is orphaned. Why the fuck I threw that in there? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. When to use each verb? Again, now we're going to ir, which is to go. It's one of the most commonly used verbs in Spanish. Ir means to go, as in to go somewhere. It's pretty much all you need to know about that verb. We are going to the pool. Nosotros vamos a la piscina. It's an irregular in its present and preterite forms, which is, you can almost use it as the past tense. It has the same kind of past tense conjugations as the verb ser, which is to be. Now we're going to go ahead and conjugate that. Present tense. Yo voy ir, to go. Yo voy a la biblioteca. Tú vas. You are going. Él, ella, usted, him, her, or you. Va. We vamos. Nosotros vamos. Ustedes and ellos van. Now going to the imperfect tense. Yo iba. You hear this a lot. You hear this a lot in imperfect Spanish and everyday conversation. Yo iba a ir a la tienda. We're going to get into the examples here in a little bit. Tú ibas. Él, ella iba. Nosotros íbamos. Ustedes, ellos iban. Went. Went. You went. Past tense. Future tense. Yo iré. Tú irás. Él, ella, usted irá. Nosotros iremos. Ellos irán. Yeah, just think about that one as I ran. Might as well. And now we're getting to examples with the present tense. Voy a la biblioteca. We all know this one. We all heard it before. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Pues yo voy a la biblioteca. I am going to the biblioteca. ¿Vas a ir a la fiesta? This is a question. Are you going to the party? ¿Vas a ir a la fiesta? Are you going to the party? Ella va a la tienda. She's going to the store. Vamos al cine? Another question. Should we go to the movies? You want to go to the movies? Shall we go to the movies? Vamos al cine. However you want to word it. Vamos al cine? It's a question, right? And if somebody's leaving your party early, ¿a dónde van? ¿Van a su casa? Van a su casa. First part I said, ¿a dónde van? Where are you going? Van a su casa. Maybe they're going to the car. I don't know. Maybe they're going for a walk. I don't know where they're going. Now we're getting to the imperfect tense. Iba a tomar. I was going to drink. Iba a tomar. I was going to drink, but I decided not to. No ibas a limpiar. Oh my God. Shit. I have heard that so many times. Weren't you going to clean? Weren't you going to clean? Going to? Past tense. No ibas a limpiar. Él iba al trabajo. He was going to work. Nosotros íbamos a visitarla. We were going to visit her. Visit him. Her. Visit her. Ellos iban a comprar la cerveza. Ellos iban a comprar la cerveza. They were going to go buy beer. Ellos, they, iban, were going to, a comprar, to buy, but we're not going to go, they were going to, they were going to buy la cerveza. They were going to buy the beer. And now let's get into the future tense. Somebody doesn't want to get the beer. Yo iré a comprar la cerveza. I will go to buy the beer because I will save this party that we ran out of beer. Tú irás a recoger la comida. If you're planning a party, you will go pick up the food. You will go pick up the food. Tú irás a recoger la comida. Now, don't get the recoger twisted with another word. All right. The other word is coger, which can also be used to pick up. First time I heard it out of context, I did not know what the fuck was going on because in Mexico, we don't say coger to pick something up. We say coger to do something completely else, have some postmarital relations. but recoger means to pick up. Ella irá a la fiesta. She will go to the party. She will go to the party. Iremos a la cantina. Cantina, place you drink. It's close as you can say to a bar. You can say bar, barra. I just want to throw a little curveball at you. But we will go to the bar. We will go to the bar after work for drinks. Irán al restaurante. Will you go to the restaurant? Or are you going? Or will you go? Will you all go to the restaurant? Or are you going to the restaurant? This one doesn't really make sense in English because it's ustedes. It's you guys. It's a group of people. You're addressing a group of people. And when you address a group of people in English, it's are you going? You address them as one singular unit. In this one, you address a group of people as multiple people all at once. Again, irán, you wouldn't say to a group of people, irás al restaurante, because irás is one single person, which makes sense structurally and grammatically in Spanish, because in English, you would address a large group of people as one single unit. In Spanish, you address a group of people as them, they, stuff like that, pronouns. Now we're going to be moving on to estar, which is to be. What is to be? The verb estar also means to be, but unlike said, which we already went through, which refers to something permanent, estar refers to what something does, or a temporary state of being. A good example is, I am sick. You wouldn't say soy enfermo. You are not permanently. Well, some people are permanently sick, but they would still say estoy enfermo. It's not a permanent state of being. Remember, we're referring to what something does, or a temporary state of being. We are on vacation. Estamos de vacaciones. We are on vacation. Estamos de vacaciones. Onward. Conjugating now. Let's get into conjugating in the present tense. Yo estoy. Tú estás. Él, ella está. Nosotros estamos. Ustedes, group of people, está. In perfect tense, estaba, estabas, estaba, estábamos, estaban. Future tense, estaré, yo estaré, tú estarás, él estará, nosotros estaremos, ustedes, ellos estarán. Now let's get into the examples of how to use this. Once we already conjugated them, let's get into how to conjugate them and how to use them. Estoy bien pedo. Now, why the fuck did I use these goddamn examples? Estoy means to be. Bien, to really be. Bien means good. Pedo is one of those words that can go very different ways. Pedo is a fart, but pedo is also a greeting. Que pedo, te echaste un pedo. Te echaste un pedo means you just fucking farted. Estoy bien pedo means I'm fucking hammered. I'm fucking drunk. That's what estoy bien pedo means. If you're out with your boys and you want to just try it out, you just estoy bien pedo. Everybody's gonna be like, yeah, That's what estoy bien pedo means. Estás lista? This is for all my male listeners out there. If you are waiting on your, you know what? Yeah, it is your male listeners, because estás lista? Estás lista means are you ready? Did you put your makeup on? Estás lista for all my male listeners out there, and you're just waiting on your girl to put her shoes on, and she's still doing her makeup. She's still sitting cross-legged in front of the full-length mirror, just putting her makeup on. Then you just go ahead and say, ¿Estás lista? Obviously, she's not. She's probably going to throw a shoe at you. Él está en el tren. He is on the train. Where's he going? I don't know. He's probably on the train going anywhere. Nosotros estamos felices. We are happy. Nosotros estamos felices. You see how we're using all these in a sentence, conjugating. Now, albeit they're very short, simple sentences, and we'll get into how to use it in real life later on. Ellos están casados. They are married. Ellos están casados. Casados means married. In perfect tense, estaba en el baño. Somebody asked you where you were. I was in the bathroom. Estaba en el baño. For tú, ¿dónde estabas el otro día? ¿Dónde estabas el otro día? Where were you the other day? Ella estaba cansada de su esposo. She was tired of her husband. Ella estaba cansada de su esposo. Cansada means tired here, and esposo means husband. If it was a wife, it'd be esposa. Estábamos a punto de irnos. Estábamos a punto de irnos. We were about to leave. Ellos estaban en otro lugar. Ellos estaban en otro lugar means they were in another place or they were somewhere else. Future example, yo estaré en la fiesta. I will be at the party. I for sure will be at the party. ¿Estarás ocupado mañana? Will you be occupied or / busy tomorrow? Always say no, because people who ask that, I've had people ask me, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? And I'm like, it completely depends on what you're about to tell me, because I'll just make something up. No. Don't ask me, because I'll just be like, no to the rest of what you're about to say. ¿Estarás ocupado mañana? Will you be ready? Will you be busy tomorrow? Ella estará lista en 5 minutos. She will be ready in 5 minutes. We have a number here, 5. Ella estará lista en 5 minutos. She will be ready in 5 minutes. Always a lie. Estaremos en la casa. Estaremos. One more time. Estaremos en la casa. We will be at home. Ellos estarán felices de verte. I didn't highlight this, or I didn't underline this one because I'm an idiot. They will be happy to see you. Ellos estarán felices de verte. They will be happy to see you. So that comes to this brings us to to the conclusion of what we talked about. Check on learning. If you're in the military, you're familiar with the check on learning. This means it's the end. Today, what did we learn? We learned what irregular verbs are, and then we identified a few commonly used irregular verbs. We also learned the 2 different verbs of to be and their differences and how to use them properly. We also learned how to conjugate irregular verbs that don't follow the traditional pattern of conjugation. It's very hard to use. It's very hard to find that pattern. There really is no pattern, and you just it just comes off the dome, honestly. And that's why it's so important that you have to memorize it, because there is no pattern. We also learned how to use the conjugation of irregular verbs in conversation. So that was pretty much it. We learned what irregular verbs are and identified a few commonly used irregular verbs. Sorry for, not highlighting or underlining a couple of them. I kind of threw this on the last minute, but I also threw this up because I put the regular verb conjugation up because it's part of the foundation of learning something. When you learn a new language, you have to learn what verbs are, adjectives, all that good stuff, right? And sometimes it's just easier. Sometimes it just seems easier to jump right into straight up conjugation and straight up translation. But if you don't understand kind of like the structure or the rules or the thought process behind it, or the rules behind it, you won't really understand, and it'll make it a lot harder. So these two, the regular verb conjugation and irregular verb conjugation, are definitely for level 1 to 1+, maybe 2. If you kind of catch up on words here and there, but you don't know how to conjugate them and you don't know how to use them, it's definitely for you guys. At this time, we're going to go ahead and translate a meme that I found or a video that I found. I love translating memes because memes bring us all together. Sometimes we don't understand what the hell's going on till we get a breakdown. So without further ado, let's go into today's meme. Now, we have a context here. It says, no todos los héroes tienen capa. Not all heroes wear capes. No todos los héroes tienen capa.
Mira, ciego, si te dice que es flaca, no le creas, papi.
Okay, let's try it one more time.
Mira, ciego, si te dice que es flaca, no le creas, papi.
All right, let's try. All right. So, just to set this up, there is a guy there's a blind guy with a stick on the street, on the sidewalk, with a person of calories. I'm just going to go ahead and say it because that's a big part of this. That's a big part of this video. That a guy drives by and he says,
Mira, ciego, si te dice que es flaca, no le creas, papi.
mira ciego. Hey, look, blind guy. Si te dice que es flaca, no le creas, papi. He says, hey, listen, fucking blind guy. She tells you she's skinny. Don't fucking believe her. And then the guy grabs his stick and he just starts laughing. It's a blind guy with a person of calories. The guy drives by and he says, hey, blind guy, if she tells you she's skinny, don't believe her. And he drives off. Let's listen to it one more time, see if you can. Let's go ahead and translate in real time.
Mira, ciego, si
Mira ciego. Hey, look, blind guy.
te dice que es flaca, no le
Si te dice que es flaca. If she tells you she's skinny,
creas, papi.
no le creas, papi. Don't believe her, baby. Do not believe her. Oh, man. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. I love translating memes, but that's going to do it for us here today. Hope you got something out of today's episode. Definitely know that some of you didn't. I definitely know that some of you didn't know what huérfano, orphan was. Huérfano, orphan. Throw that in any insult you want. You just learned it. You deserve it. And pedo, estoy bien pedo means I am fucking drunk. I am fucked up. That's exactly what you want to tell people when you're getting out doing adult things with your adult friends. Anyways, that's going to be it for us today. Thanks for hopping on El Autobús de Lucha, a.k.a. the Struggle Bus. I hope you learned something. Like, subscribe, do everything that it needs to do on YouTube. It really helps us out, and we will see you next time.